Now, before we move on to the next speakers, we will have our first Q&A session because Professor Punyani has some other engagement, I'm told. So can we move on with the question and answer session, the first part of the question and answer session? I will ask the first question. The first question is for Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah. This is from Dr. Nazmul Hussain Laskar. And the question is, unlike the West, why is the civil society very fragile and weak in India? How can we make civil society movement strong and vibrant?
I would like to answer that by one word, that is education. In case you have an educated and forward-looking society, I think that ill can be overcome. It is the problem of uneducated people who cannot gauge where they are being misused.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. My next question is from Mr. Akhlaq Tade. His question is for Professor Punyani. The question, I'm reading it out. How to protect the interests of the minorities in present day situation, and how to pressurize governments that are unsympathetic to the minorities' cause to provide justice to all?
See, this is a core question and a very difficult question. I must say that the communal forces have made very, very big strides, and the secular democratic forces have somehow remained very weak, and by and large they have taken a retreat. But still, I think there is a hope in the newer generation of people who are coming up and who are standing for democracy, who are standing against the violation of human rights. So basically, it is a question of whether, number one, we can think of re-strengthening our democratic institutions at different levels. The autonomy of institutions has come to be controlled by the government in a very adverse way. So we have to somehow do that. Number two, wherever there is a violation of minority rights or rights of the Dalits, though that has to be, people have to raise a joint voice. And we have also to see that a section of media is totally becoming pro-government. Actually, the job of media is not to keep praising government for every defeat or every victory. The job of the media is to keep raising questions to the power, those who are in power, so that they try to improvise their ways for a better way. It is not a question of insulting power. It's a question of raising genuine questions so that better policies in the society come up and we are able to move further in our society. So that one is standing for human rights of the weaker sections of society is a broad way, but at minute level, the human rights organizations and putting forward the demands whereby this education can be more broad based, education can be easily available for even the downtrodden in a proper way, health facilities can be there for the proper way. So this is a struggle for basic facilities has to be raised in a proper way, in addition to, of course, defense of human rights at all the levels.
Thank you, sir, for your response.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I have a question for Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah. This is my question. I wanted to ask this to you. What are some of the challenges in the way of minorities' rights enforcement?
Minority rights are, they can always be resolved by, if the minorities ask for rights, if they ask for reservations, it'll have an adverse impact. I think the minorities need to correct things on their own. The first is they must be one unified people. If they are dissipated in other groups, the advantage is taken of that, fragmentation. That's number one. Secondly, I have already stressed that a lot of ills of society can be corrected by education. And the problem is that the minorities are way back in this very, very vital field for some reasons. When I was the Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University, I realized that because of poverty, the deprived sections of the population, that means the Muslims and the Dalits, cannot send their children to good schools. If they don't go to good schools, they don't get into institutions of higher learning. If they don't get into institutions of higher learning, they cannot qualify in competitive exams for central services. So these are the problems that can be overcome through the medium of education. So I stress two things. One is unity amongst minorities and Dalits, and secondly, stress on education.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Our last question for this Q&A session, the first half of the Q&A session, that is from Mr. Shubroto Mondol from ABN Shield College. Now this is for Professor Punyani. I'm reading out the question. Is there any instance of detribalization in India? How does the tribal community respond or responded to current nationalism?
See, actually, that is a very interesting chapter. This detribalization, wherever it has taken existing lifestyles, because they are used to a particular lifestyle, and for in a culturally suitable manner. I mean, of course, tribal also don't want to remain where they are, but when they are brought into the different setup, we have to respect their way of life, and through again, as General Saab said, we have to also see that education again is a key to transformation of tribals, so that they can look for themselves a better future in the industrial society, because they are used to a society, they are used to environment where, of course, jal jangal jameen, what they call forest, land, and river, that is what they are this thing. Now coming to a industrial milieu, and now of course even the post industrial milieu, the education remains, I think, one of the major keys of working amongst Adivasis, to see that they are able to adjust to this social, political, economic changes in a more suitable way.
Thank you, Professor Punyani.